Comic-Con International in San Diego 2024. Now, I've been to a large variety of conferences, very similar to this one, but nothing on the scale of this in terms of pop culture. Now, if you've never been to a Comic-Con before, they're hosted all over the country, but this one is the big international event over in San Diego. I've never been to it before, so this year I had the chance to go, and I took that chance. So I wanted to give you guys a quick recap on what you'd expect if you went, how it was it worth it, and just talk about how much fun we had, or some of the things we learned, some things we might do different next time. So I didn't know Comic-Con hosts about 135,000 people almost every year, and that's pretty much the max that convention center can hold. And I'll tell you, it is shoulder to shoulder. And you have brands like Mattel, you have brands like Hot Wheels there, you have Funko, you have Lego, you have Bandai, which is all the Gundam and all that. And then you also have Hasbro and Hasbro Pulse, which does all like the lightsabers and all the trinkets and things like that you're kind of used to from Transformers and G.I. Joe. So I've never seen this level of detail in terms of these booths being set up from these various companies. Like I said, I've been to a lot of other conferences. You've seen a lot on the channel from different conferences, different range days and things like that we checked out before. And this isn't really gear, but it's still collectibles, and it's something that I think interests a lot of folks on the channel. So if you're interested, make sure you hit that like and subscribe to the channel, because this is something I kind of like doing a little bit more, going to these types of events and talking about what we see. So for example, first thing is walking the hall. So 135,000 people. That is a lot of people, and you're going to expect long waits. And the big thing here is they have these exclusive releases from Hasbro and Mattel and Funko and all this and that, where you're going to go and have to wait in pretty substantial long lines, and also get there pretty early to get this Deadpool mystery Funko for several $100s that no one else can get. A lot of people try to flip this stuff and they make 50 bucks. You know, like the Wolverine popcorn bucket was there, the Deadpool, the dead head there, Deadpool head was there with the bucket there, and that was from AMC. They had a whole booth set up for AMC, which is great because I love seeing movies. I'm sure you guys do as well. That new Deadpool Wolverine was great.
Soaking wet right now.
And it was just nice to see all of these things you can get, and you might not be able to get those because they're sold out elsewhere. And also there's things that are limited edition. So for example, Gundams and, you know, different things from like Dragon Ball Z, things that I wanted to pick up, things that I grew up with in the 90s that I'm sure a lot of you have as well, that was kind of neat to see these special editions you can buy. And I'll probably just hold on to them for quite a long time, maybe resell them someday, maybe open them up, let the kids play. We don't really know, and that's the best part about it. And we've taken the kids to some smaller cons before, but this one I don't think is very kid friendly, and I'll tell you why. It's because it is shoulder to shoulder, long waits and lines, and then the things that aren't waits for things like items to purchase are the panels. So you have these panels where you saw maybe Robert Downey Jr. reveal as Dr. Doom, right? And there's a bunch of other panels. We went to the Aliens panel and got to see the Aliens Romulus that you get to go and see. They had a bunch of previews of that. They had like a 5-minute preview of the movie that we got to see. That was really cool. And it's very practical effects, which is also pretty neat because a lot of things are CGI now. And that Aliens movie, they're trying to bring some more practical effects back into it. We saw panels on Family Guy, The Simpsons, American Dad, Futurama, all these shows we grew up with that are still going today in some capacity. And it was so much fun. We even get to see some table reads for like Futurama, future episodes. We got to see some previews where you had to turn your cameras off, of course, so they were like, oh, the panel is about to discuss this next 5-minute clip of the Family Guy episode coming up, you know, for Halloween special edition. So you can't record this, right? So that's something to expect as well. These panels, depending on which one you go to, they're all in these massive rooms. Hall H is the one that's famous for having like 6,500 capacity in there. And we almost made it to most of those panels because a lot of people leave after each panel. So we went to like the Aliens, and we went to like Kevin Smith was talking about, the guy from Clerks and all that. It's talking about a lot of his movies coming up. Got to see the trailer for his new movie coming out. I think it's called The 430, and I got to see that before anyone else did. So that was really cool.
She is unlike any nun you've ever met, and she's got a secret.
How come the nuns were never secret hookers when we were in school?
Let's see what's under that wig. Oh, hell no! Say a prayer for Sister Sugar Walls.
Well, we're definitely seeing that.
And I went out of my way to make it a PG-13 because when we were kids, nobody cursed. We weren't allowed to curse. Like, I would have been crucified.
And then things like the Marvel, of course, that one you have to wait quite a long time. We didn't get into the Marvel this year. We tried, but you'd have to be there in the morning to see a 6 o'clock panel. So if you go and get the tickets, and I'll talk about tickets in a minute, you just have to understand that this type of Comic-Con, being San Diego, being this international stage for all these releases, that you need to plan ahead, that maybe one of those days on like Saturday, for example, you're going to want to go and plan to go to that panel and wait in line. But we met some really cool people. I mean, people from all over the place flying in. So we had to hang out in line, talk to some people, just kind of see what they're into, what other folks are there for, things like that. And there's a bunch of activities outside of the convention nowadays too, that they have like an adult swim setup where anyone can go, which is a lot of fun. They had this whole, I think it was called like Mayhem or something with Futurama and American Dad, and anyone can go to that as well. You don't have to have tickets for a lot of this stuff. And there's a bunch of parties downtown, which is cool. So I had never been to San Diego before, but going with Comic-Con and having a bunch of like-minded folks just kind of enjoying all the new stuff being released and seeing everyone dressed up in various characters and all that was pretty impressive. Now, to get tickets to this one is interesting. I've always heard, and you probably have heard it before in the past, The Big Bang Theory has been a favorite show of ours for many, many years. We've probably seen it a bunch of times over and over again. And they always talked about Comic-Con and they're hitting on their laptops. So like I said, I had a chance to go just because me and the wife were like, we should check it out this year. Do all these other conferences, go to all these other events, especially for the channel. And we had to go see all these other things for gear and all that stuff. And it'd be interesting to see this side of the business and what kind of vendors show up, and the toy companies, the designers, all the celebrities. It'd be just something different, right? So, and it was a blast, but the thing is to get is pretty much a lottery to get a ticket. And it runs Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. By Saturday, if you really want to know, I mean, a lot of the exclusive merch, if you're looking for something special, is either sold out or they're blocking it off certain times a day to release just a few more. So a lot of the stuff you really want to get there for like Thursday is the big day. In fact, Thursday and Friday were more busy than Saturday and Sunday. Sunday was pretty much dead because there's not a lot left unless you just want to walk the hall. And there's not a lot of panels left either, but there's a lottery. It's usually in the fall, I think, where you have to go online and just kind of get pulled randomly to buy a number of tickets for each day. And I forget what it was. It's not too expensive. It's under $100 a day. So depends on what you want to do and how many days you want to go. And the best part is that San Diego, being such an expensive city, just like a lot of the Californian cities are, and especially with an event like this, the Comic-Con committee pretty much pulled together these blocked rooms in various hotels that are on a free shuttle route. And that's what we did. We just grabbed some room at a couple of hotels that you can go and just pick from, and you just go and get on the free shuttle, and just it takes you back and forth, and they run every like 15 minutes. So that's the way to go, is pick one of those hotels on the shuttle route and just enjoy that in the way you can go back and forth to the convention. We also got to see some pre-releases of new toys coming out, new action figures, new model kits, things like that, especially from Mattel and Hasbro. They even had Street Sharks. Remember that with Vin Diesel there?
Sledge the Hammerhead. Sledge the Hammerhead loves to floor the competition with the flying headbutt.
That was like way back. And Street Sharks is being re-released, and I actually got autographs from, just because we ended up just showing up at the booth and I saw, oh, there's guys up there signing something. Turns out they're all the designers of the Street Sharks, of each new one. So it's kind of fun. You get to do things like that, different autographs. It's not always celebrities. You get to have the toy designers and things like that. And it's just kind of neat to see kind of behind the curtain what these guys do and what they think about. And then even looking at something like the Mattel, the Hasbro panels, you get to kind of hear what's next. And some of the prototypes, they're using a lot of 3D printing now for prototyping out different figurines and different action sets they want to put together and things like that. And from a gear guy and a collector like myself, it was just kind of neat to kind of see how they pull that all together and where the ideas come from and how they take some things from the fandom, from fans talking about what they want to see, what they want to buy, and also from movies like Deadpool and Wolverine, for example, right? So that movie they took ideas from, and they're going to release a lot of the cameos that are in that movie at a future date. They just didn't want to release it right away because, again, no spoilers, right? So it was kind of nice to hear that that's how they're going to do it. They're like, weeks to come, we're going to release all these other characters and whatever else you want to see from that particular movie. We're working on it, and various other movies coming out as well. Would we attend again? I would say yes. I enjoy it just from the pure aspect of seeing who shows up, the vendors. I'm not really big into the whole Hollywood thing. I think a lot of you guys aren't either, but it's really neat to kind of see where they're taking steps towards new movies and things like that. Like I said, the Robert Downey Jr. thing being released. We saw Aliens, talking about how they're working on practical effects. They had a whole big show about, showing how they're using like chest bursters and face huggers and things like that. So that was really cool to see, just from, a film kind of nerd like myself. And then seeing how they kind of build this stuff out and talking about the sets and how they're talking about how the sets were very practical this time. And like we talked about earlier, and like the actors were talking about how they arrive on set, basically get all makeuped up, and then you're walking into like a spaceship. So they were like, it was pretty scary because it was a spaceship, limited lights. We had some camera guys following us around, but it was very real, and it was nice to be immersed into that. Versus a lot of the Marvel movies are just like big blue screen sets now, and they just have very limited practical effects and things of that nature. So absolutely, I think we would go again. I would actually promote going maybe just like Thursday, Friday, maybe Saturday. Just because I think those are the big days. And even if you might have seen the Deadpool, Wolverine, like Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman both showed up on Thursday night. That event, for example, if you ever want to see something in the future, for maybe they do something for the new Avengers movies coming out, that's like invite only, and you have to do another lottery. So we learned that as well. So some of these panels, you got to look on the website and enter your number or your ticket badge and try to get into special edition types of panels that you might not be able to get into even if you arrive early for that day. So that Thursday event, we couldn't have gotten into even if we had tickets, because you would have to get special tickets for that. A lot of buttons, a lot of stickers and limited edition patches and things like that to add to like patch walls, a lot of swag, a lot of art. Local artists, international artists were there. It was really neat to kind of see just some of the details there, and also see, obviously, Star Wars and Marvel have had kind of a rocky last few years, let's be honest, but it's something where I grew up with those movies and those shows. It was neat to kind of see the sets that they set up for their booths, and they had some really intricate booths. Lego, still love a good Lego set, build them all the time with the kiddos. And Lego had, the new Zelda is coming out, the new Zelda set, the new Jaws set is coming out, both great game, great movie, right? So it was just kind of neat to see those firsthand before they even hit the shelves. And you can even hear some of like the employees talking about some of the features and things like that. And some of the designers were there, like I mentioned, with Hasbro and Mattel and all that. But if you're not into a lot of the exclusives, you could still go for the panels and things like that. Because even my wife was like, hey, I don't mind walking around like cattle, just shoulder to shoulder, running through the hall. But it was more interesting to me hearing the panels and listening to Lois from Family Guy read an episode. They did a whole read of an episode, like a table read, which is just fascinating to hear them change the voices so quick, because a lot of those guys do several characters for each show. And she said, even though I was sitting like 30 rows back, it was nice to see, and they had these big screens everywhere so you can still see them up close and then look even further away at the actual desk at the panel when they're at the table up there. So even if you don't want to, go shoulder to shoulder, maybe spend one day doing that, one day doing the panels. And a lot of the big ones, like the Marvel panels on Saturday, and I think we did Alien on Friday, and then of course you had like the special edition panels on Thursday. So you have to check the schedule. But really, it's a great time either way, and then you go back to the hotel, hit the hot tub. So either way, it's a great time. Just be prepared to walk a ton, and the food is outrageously priced, like $13 for a pretzel, as you expect. It's essentially Disney World, but it's still a lot of fun. You can get off of the convention center property and go to like CVS and get food. There, we went to like a local taco shop 3 blocks away for like, you know, $10 for a combo, and that was delicious. So you can get out and do other things. It's very easy to get around. It's just the main floor, which is just one large rectangle really with all the booths set up, is the hardest part to kind of maneuver if you really want to get somewhere quick. And then trying to find the lines for each booth for the special edition stuff is also a little tricky, and the lines cap. So when they get capped, you have to like wait around and do circles until they open up their sign to say, all right, a couple more people in. And it just, you know, it's a lot of line. They call it Line Con is what I've heard this year. So that was kind of the thing the last few years. Apparently there's a lot of lines, but you pick what you want, wait where you want to wait, and just get what you need and get out and go check out some panels, get some good food, all that. They even set up the Hard Rock Hotel, had the old Hard Rock Cafe, I think they sold, and it's now called like the Mary Jane or something. And now it's the Krusty Krab for this weekend. So that was fun. So we had a good time with that, you know, growing up with SpongeBob and everything. So that's my take on San Diego Comic-Con. Like I said, I've never been before, not to this level of a pop culture type of conference. So if you're interested in going, you know, just keep an eye out. I have no ins, I'm not a vendor or anything, but I will probably attend next year if given the opportunity. And tickets, I think we waited maybe like an hour one morning whenever they launched there. It really wasn't bad. You just kind of hit refresh and then your ticket pop up and be like, all right, how much you want to buy? And I'm like, all right, I'll get 2 or whatever it is for these 3 days or 2 days. So you can pick, I think it's a 4-day event, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So whatever you want to do. So that's my insight. Hope you enjoyed this video. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next review.